Welcome everybody to Uncle Fred's podcast. That's right. This is my journey. I've been promising doing some podcast things, over a period of time. And today I just wanted to jump on here real quick. I'm not all rigged up and everything. And I actually did about 6 episodes with my good friend and brother Ford from Detroit and some other brothers that came in, Pastor Chris Williamson, and some different guests I had. But it felt, felt like everybody else's, you know what I'm saying? You get it, it felt like just everybody else's. I don't want it to feel like that. Today, I just said I'm going to start. I've been saying I'm going to start, and, I just kept putting it off, but an interesting clip came up, and I wanted to tell the story of how I got with the Winans. Anybody know me? The Winans are my mentors, my big brothers. Shout out to all of them. Marvin, Carvin, rest in peace, Ronald, Michael, Daniel, BB and Cece, Debbie and Angie and David, Mom and Pop, rest in peace, Pops. But anybody knows me, those are some of my favorite people in Detroit, along with Clark Sisters too, but I'm gonna get with them in a minute. But these guys gave me a chance, and it was really a really different situation on how I got this started. Now, I'm about to show you a clip, and Bishop Winans is like 99% accurate. I just counted up to his age. We all see things a little different, but he's right there on it. But I want to give you the rest of the story, and I'm going to put it in context. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful story, and I have so many great memories with the Winans. And watch this clip, and I'll get back at you.
The bass player that wanted to play for BB and CC had a group called Winans Part 2. And so he came and said he wanted to try out for them. And you might know him, his name is Fred. Yeah. And Fred came and played. I looked at him and said, "You ain't coming here for no Winans Part 2. You came here for the Winans." He said, "Yeah."
All right, that's right. So now, Pastor Bishop Winans is absolutely right about pretty much everything he said, but it was a little different. It was a little different in there, and so what I want to do is I want to shed a little light, because once again, the Winans family is absolutely one of my most favorite families in the world. Yeah, it kind of went down like this. When the Winans became really, really popular with that first record, question is, will I ever leave here, and restoration has finally come. When I heard that album, it blew my mind. I knew that some brothers from Detroit made it, and finally, it was so professional, and I said, this is what I want to do. Their first albums were the Testimonial Singers. Okay, I'm going to come back to this and let you know. They were the Testimonial Singers, and we followed them all around Detroit. They were like our Earth, Wind, and Fire. And their records sounded like local records, but when Andre and Bill Maxwell got a hold to that first record, we just knew the day was gone. And traveling down Finkel and right at Greenfield, I was coming home from work, and it was around 9 o'clock in the evening, and Brother Bill was playing their record for the first time, Brother Billy Owens, and your gospel DJ. And I was like, I heard it, and it froze me. I'm sitting at the light, and I could see all around me. I'm looking all around me where there's a gas station to my left, and there's a Green's Hamburgers, and there's a fire station to my right, and there's a gas station across the street, and I'm looking at traffic, and it's a beautiful night. And I knew that that's what I wanted to do. So my journey started. I wanted to figure out what they were going to do. So my guy, Michael Wright, and he was already playing for the band, Mike E., and Freddie Mans, and who else was that? It was Sandy Lovely, Jet Penix, Lynn Owens. Who else was that? It was a lot of people. Caldwell was on drum. Pastor Caldwell was on percussions, and they had a really big band. So we knew, man, they made it. And so I heard through the grapevine that they were going to audition a new bass player for whatever the reason was. I knew the bass player. He was an amazing dude, just the nicest cat. But for whatever reason, they were going to get a different bass player. So I reached out and I inquired through Michael Wright, and he said, yeah, no, man, they really, Marvin and Carvin are really high on Greg Lockett. Now, this is the band talking to me. I hadn't talked any information from Marvin. They never knew that I played bass. They didn't know I played bass. And so they heard me sing a couple times here and there with my other group. But no worries. We were trying to get me an audition. So Mike Wright said, man, Greg got it sold up. But if he don't take it, I said, man, just put me in line. I want to put my name in line. So he said, I'll put you in. I talked to Greg. I just happened to go up and see him somewhere. And he was working at a Volkswagen dealership on 8 Mile. And I happened to be in there. And he said, man, what you think about the Winans? I said, oh, man, that's dope. I said, you going to take the gig? He was like, man, I make a lot of money up here. And at that time, whatever he was making, it was a lot of money, as a car salesman. He said, man, I can't see myself going on the road on tour and walking away from this job with benefits and this and that. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to take it, Fred. I said, man, would you put a word in for me? And that was like me winning a Grammy, just me and they be able to ask that. And Greg said, I will do that, man, because I love you, man. And your bass playing is tight, and you know me and you cool. So that was that. So I waited for a word to get put into Greg and Marvin, and Greg did. But somehow, it didn't translate to Pastor Marvin. And that's cool. That's cool. We were, I was in school, and then I saw Michael Wright again. He said, yo, man, no, it's not going down, man. So I'm gonna put your name in again. So he put my name in again. So Pastor Winan said, call me. Pastor Winan said, call me. And I was in Henry Ford Community College. So I was working part-time and I was going to school part-time. And next thing I know, I get his number and he says, call me in the morning at 10 a.m. My classes was over. I rushed to the phone, the pay phone. I had my quarter ready. I locked one phone off of about 4 so nobody can get it. And right at 9:59, I hit that quarter and I and I waited. And Vicky Winans picked up the phone. She said, hello. I said, hey, Miss Vicky, this is Fred Hammond. She said, oh, hey, Fred, how you doing? And she said, I'm supposed to call Pastor Marvin. Well, he wasn't pastor at that time. I'm supposed to call Marvin. He said, okay, hey, Peanut. That's what you call it. Pick up the phone. It's Fred Hammond, the bass player. And she said, who? Said the bass player. And she came back and said, well, he said he's not familiar with you right now. He said, what do I want? And I said, well, he told me to call him. He told me to give him a call this morning. He said, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, tell him to call me tomorrow. I had to go another 24 hours waiting. I just had to go another 24. And, I told my mom, I told different people that I had a call and a possible audition. Everybody was excited, but I had to wait 24. So now we're waiting. Next day, 10 o'clock, boo, ching. Hello, can I please speak to Marvin? And she said, Peter, hey, it's Fred Hammond again, the bass player. And he said, yeah, tell him to call me tomorrow. Okay. All right, no problem. So I'm like getting nervous. Next thing I know, the next day, I called. And I got him, he said, hello. He got on the phone, he was a little sleepy. Hello. And I said, Marvin, this is Fred Hammond. You told me to call you about the bass playing. Hey, listen. This is what he said. Hey, listen. We're going to go with the guy who labored with us. We talked about it, and we're going to go with him. And don't call me no more. Now, anybody that knows Pastor Marvin L. Winans knows that he don't pull no punches. He say exactly what he mean, and he mean what he say. And I wasn't mad at him, but I was disappointed because I felt like an opportunity was leaving. Okay, so that's the way it goes, But one thing I kept doing was I kept going home every day, and I would practice 2 songs that were on television. I practiced commercials. My bass, I sit down and watch a television show and I play the score that's underneath or the commercials that come up. And I was playing, you know, in the living room with my amp set up, and I was playing records, you know, all the time. You know, Edwin Hawkins, Bootsy Collins, P-Funk, Ohio players. And my mother let me practice right there in the living room. But one of the things I did practice, they told me to practice the Winans album. And so when I finished, I ran into Daniel and BB Winans out at Northland because they were our age. And, you know, we had been to school together and whatnot at Mumford High School, Sweet Sweet Powder Blue, Sweet Sweet Powder Blue. And they saw us out at Northland, and BB hits you. When he talks to you, he hits you. He's like, hey, boom. He hits you in the chest. And Daniel was there. He said, hey, listen, you know, the Winans got their thing, but we about to have our thing. Winans Part 2. And we want you to be our bass player, because they knew I could play. So they said, we want you to be our bass player. And I said, cool, you know anybody else? I said, hey, man, you think about Michael Williams, you know? And they said, yeah, we thought about that too as well. So, I mean, if you could talk to him, maybe we're going to talk to him. We're going to reach out. As a matter of fact, Mike might have been with me that time. I don't know. It was near Flag Brothers over there around the corner from the little dude on the little polar bear. Flag Brothers Shoes, where we met. And nevertheless, I came to rehearsal, and we didn't know any Winans Part 2 songs because Marvin was writing them at the time. So I got in there, and I was a quick learner because I rehearsed with television. So 60 seconds, you had to know the bass line. You didn't have time to play. And if Barney Miller came on, I had one time I wanted to learn it. And I would just learn everything on there. So I was a quick study. We got there, and at that point in time, when we showed up, I believe that might have been the first time I met Mike Brooks. He was there. I hadn't known him. I heard about him. And he was there for piano, and I think Tim Bowman, I'm not sure who was going to play guitar, Tim Bowman, and then some of the other Winans band members were going to play. So the rhythm section was in the living room. And we showed up, and no problem, and everybody was there. The Winans band were going to rehearse afterwards. The Winans were going to rehearse after Winans Part 2. And it was Vicky Winans, Marvy Wright, Daniel Winans, CeCe Winans, and BB Winans. So we started getting into it, man. And you know, we're learning. I got my bass. You know, I'm sitting there. I should bring a bass over here for effect, but no. And I've got my place. And they started doing this song, something that BB wrote. It said, I found the answer. And then all of a sudden they said, okay, we need something right here. So they went, Marvin he was on piano. And so he went down and he played this little groove. And I did this bass line. Hit a harmonic right there. And we all locked right there. And Daniel and BB was hollering and screaming. They was like, oh, no, no offense, everybody, but our band is killing y'all's band. Just that and other. And we just got in there, we locked in there and we played it. And there was another one. Jews require a sign. We started to be wise. And we learned that one. And we was quick on it. So sounded great. And Marvin looked at me and said, he turned around, he was playing, he said, you ain't slick. And I'm like, what? He said, play this. I feel like flying away. Before he could start to the next 4 bars, I was and I had every lick down pat. And when I did that, BB ran over to Marvin, knocked him off the piano, said, you ain't taking our band. And the whole house erupted in this great, glorious celebration. Yeah! And laughter. And I remember looking at my guy that was playing bass, and I saw it in his eyes. And I didn't know what to do. But I just sat there. And then Marvin said, fellas, brothers, I need to meet in the basement. So they went and had a meeting. Next thing I know, they called the other bass player down, and people was like, "Dog, I think you got it. Dog, I think you got it." And they called him. He finally came up, and he just dapped me up, but he stayed. And then they said, "Can we get Fred Hammond down here?" And that's when they pulled me down in the basement and told me about a washing machine and the dryer. They say, "We'd like you to come on and hang out and be our bass player." And that's how it happened. That's it. And that's how I became an honorary Winans family member. That's right. So listen, that part of my life was amazing. I stuck there as long as I could until it was time for me to transition on to my next assignment. And but it put me in some great rooms. I got a chance to learn how to be a better musician, a better man, a better person, a better Christian, because I saw them guys live that life. I saw who they were. And I took them same kind of rules right over to commission when we went over there as well. We'll talk more about that as later, girls on the floor, girls in the hotel. This is what I saw the Winans. They didn't play that. And so I took them same rules over there. And I just learned a lot. I got a chance to be around some great musicians. Bill Maxwell, I learned how to play bass better from Abraham Laboriel. He taught me dynamics, but I just watched him up close when I went to the baked potato and saw him play. I got a chance to witness a lot of things. I was around Marvin when he wrote, Finders Keepers, when he wrote a lot of his great songs. The Carvin Winans, when he wrote Don't You Be Deceived. The original title for that was The Joke's on You, and I'll tell you about that a little bit later on as well. I got a chance to be around some great people, and I just thank God for that journey and would not trade it. So I thank you all for joining my podcast, and y'all keep it real, keep it here. I'm gonna lock you all in and some great stories. Some great and some not so great, but at the end of the day, it's all what made me me. All right. So listen. One more announcement before we go. Listen, during the holidays coming up in December, Worship Live Tour is coming with Donnie McClurkin, myself, Hezekiah Walker, Pastor Mike Jr., Todd Delaney, Anthony Brown, and my man, Dee Hattie. That's right. In certain cities, we're coming and we're going to have a ball. So you guys come back, hit the like and subscribe, so to let you know when I'm on. I got some podcasts here or some shows here for you, and we're going to be good, all right? I love you, family. Lord bless my family. I thank you for allowing them to join me. And I hope it was interesting. I hope they've been blessed. And I hope you're glorified. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. Love you. See you next time, family.